गणानां त्वा गणपतिगं मवामहे कविं कवीनाम् उपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पद आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिस्सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामुमित्रेवतो महासरस्वत्यै नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरुवे सर्वलोकानां ऋषिचे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अस्मिन् गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। देवीं वाचमजनयन्त देवाः तां विश्वरूपा पशवो वदन्ति तानो मन्दिरेषु मूर्जन्तुहानां धेनुर्वागस्मानुप्रतिष्ठितयतु व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शते पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतादं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। शिवशक्तिसमारम्भां भास्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मश्रीनाथपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रीललिता महात्रिपुरसुन्दरी समेत श्री चन्द्रमौळीश्वराय नमः। श्री काञ्ची कामकोटि पीठाधिपति जगद्गुरु श्री शंकराचार्य श्रीचरणयोः प्रणामाः। स्वस्ति श्रीमदखिल भूमण्डलालङ्कार त्रयस्त्रिंशत्कोटि देवता सेवित श्री कामाक्षी देवी सनाथ श्रीमदेकाम्रनाथ श्री महादेवी सनाथ श्री हस्तगिरिनाथ साक्षात्कार परमाधिष्ठान सत्यव्रत नामाङ्कित काञ्ची दिव्य क्षेत्रे शारदामणस्तुस्थितानाम् अतुलितसुधार समादुर्य कमलादन कामिनी धम्मिल्ल सम्पुल्ल मल्लिका मालिका निश्चिन्त मकरन्द झरि सौवस्तिक भाङ् निकुम्भ विजृम्भणानन्द तुन्दरित मनीष मण्डलानां नवरदाद्वैत विद्या विनोदरसिकानां निरन्तरालङ्कृतीकृत शान्तिदान्ति भूम्नां सकलभुवनचक्र प्रतिष्ठापक श्रीचक्र प्रतिष्ठा विख्यात यशोलङ्कृतानां निखिलपाषण्डषण्डकण्टकोद्घाटनेन विशदीकृत वेद वेदान्तमार्ग शन्मत प्रतिष्ठापकाचार्याणां श्रीमत्परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्यवर्य श्री जगद्गुरु श्रीमत् भगवत्पादाचार्याणाम् अधिष्ठाने सिंहासनाभिषिक्त श्रीमच्चन्द्रशेखरेन्द्र सरस्वती संयमीन्द्राणाम् अधिष्ठाने सिंहासनाभिषिक्त श्रीमज्जयेन्द्र सरस्वती संयमीन्द्राणाम् अन्तेवासिवर्य श्रीमच्छङ्कर विजयेन्द्र सरस्वती श्रीपादानां च चरणधरणयोः सप्रश्रयं साञ्जलिबन्धं च नमस्कुर्मः। Welcome once again to one more session of Mundaka Upanishat. How many of you have been able to go through the previous videos? Do you have any questions? Another? Couldn't spend much time, both the US video and the Indian video. Okay. Still it's... Yeah, so if you have questions, ask. You don't have to wait till the class. There's no questions. Okay. There's no questions. Okay. Sonalji or Radha, any question?
No. Yeah. Let's speak. Yeah. I did go through the video. And no, I don't have any questions presently.
Okay.
Yeah, I have also gone through both the videos, and whatever I was able to research or whatever I was able to look into, one or two things I thought I'll put in the group so that they also benefit out of it.
Yes.
Other things I have not put the other things, thinking that they may also want to do the research, so I just kept quiet. Otherwise, I have gone through both the videos.
Good. So, feel free to give feedback if you feel it is going too technical, if it is not relevant. Because ultimately, my interest is not to dump a whole bunch of information which you hear and say, yeah, I heard, I think I understood it, but I don't understand anything. I try to keep the language very simple and something that you can relate to. When you wake up in the morning, you say, okay, I've learned something new and I can apply it to my day-to-day life. I can correct my goals, objectives, etc., and what I believe in and how I practice things. As long as that application part of it is happening, I'm happy. It doesn't work overnight that you understand everything and you'll be able to follow it, but at least it should be able to give you clarity in terms of what is being talked about. So without much ado, let us go to the next shloka in Mundaka Upanishat. It is Parikshya Lokan Karmachitan Brahmano Nirveda Mayannastya Kritena. Nirveda Mayannastya Kritena. Tad Vijanartham sa Guru Meva Bhigachet Samitpanish Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham. Again, Parikshya Lokan Karma Chitan Brahmano Nirveda Mayan Nastyakrita Kritena Tad Vijanartham sa Gurumeva Bhigachet Samitpanish Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham.
Enjoy.
Sorry, Sonalji?
I'm telling bye to my daughter.
Okay. So,
Beg your pardon.
the simple meaning here is, let a Brahmin, having examined the worlds produced by karma, be free from desires. It's a focus about the Brahmin. Let the Brahmin, having examined the worlds produced by karma, be free from desires, thinking there is nothing eternal produced by karma. So, if I have to just very simply put it, you and I can do thousands of years of research. What we are only doing a reverse engineering of what nature is, what cosmos is, and formulate rules to enjoy the pleasures of that particular nature that is in which we are given an opportunity to be born like a human being. We can do research and inventions and create iPhones, laptops, all the comforts and materialistic stuff. We can sow the seeds. We can't create the seeds. We can sow the seeds, and that seeds we can water it and let it grow from the soil. Again, the source is soil. The soil is not created by us. So the clear, direct message is, we can do what we want. We can perform whatever mantra, japa, yajna, etc. We are still in the realm of that lower level knowledge or lower level materialistic desires and materialistic aspirations and fulfillment of those desires. But there is nothing eternal produced by karma. Like with our karma, we cannot produce something that is eternal, imperishable. So, in order to acquire the knowledge of the eternal, let him means Brahmin, have this samid. Samid is the wooden piece that you all know, which is used to do the homa, the sacrificial fuel, in hand. Approach a preceptor who is well versed in the Vedas and centered in the Brahman. Means, again, the person who has learned Vedas thoroughly well through the Guru Parampara. It starts all the way from Brahma down for ages, for centuries. This Brahmin with the fuel in hand as a karta can approach this person who is well versed in the Vedas. That's the essence of this mantra. So, why is this being said? This is being said to clearly deliver a message where a person has aspirations, means, and fulfillment of those aspirations, thinks that is happiness, will also easily get disgusted, frustrated. Because what you thought is, if I get iPhone 14 Pro, I'm on top of the world. Suddenly you saw that if the software doesn't function, if the screen freezes, it puts you back into an unhappy stage, and that can get into frustration, anger, and some people can even break a phone. So that's human mind. So when you are disgusted with all the samsara, which is in the nature of ends and means, he is entitled to acquire the Paravidya. Parikshya Means well knowing that the subject of Aparavidya, consisting of the Rigveda, Yajurveda, and Samavedas, performed by a person tainted with the defects of natural ignorance, desires, and karma. Whatever we go through, whatever we have as mortal human beings, they're addressed as defects, because that's what we need to fix and get away from. It's a detachment that is being referred to. Until we move away from the detachment, these are the defects that are holding us from realizing the eternal truth. So the desires and karma has been intended for a person possessed of such defects. And after examining those worlds, which are the fruits of such karma performed, attainable by the various routes, northern routes, southern routes, etc., where you say, right, you once you are done with this particular birth, then you move to the other lokas. Either you go to the heaven or you go to hell, depending on your karmas. The world of beasts and the world of the departed spirits, which is the Pitraloka, and which are also the results of the vices of not performing the prescribed karma. So there are many people who don't believe in performing Shraddha. They just don't believe it because they need clinical evidence. And for clinical evidence, obviously, you have to die and go to the other world and see whether what you're doing is reaching them or not. That's an unfortunate story. You can't recruit 5,000 people and tell them, okay, please die and come back. Because our brethren, our brothers and sisters would like clinical evidence before accepting anything, because they want to judge the nature that is created by the Paramatma himself. We live in that era, unfortunately. So if they don't perform the karma, then obviously you acquire doshas, and the doshas are, in simple language, what I call it as a debit entry in your balance sheet. The more debit entry you have in your balance sheet, your route, whether you're going to the northern route to the Devaloka or the southern route to the Pitraloka, and go down instead of coming to this. You know the lokas, right? Bhu, Bhuha, Suha. Bhu is where we are. So which loka we go to will determine at the end of our life. So in this mantra, it says, after having examined these worlds with the aid of experience, inference, analogies, and agamas. So there is a constant interaction happening of you are attempting to learn the rules, you try to internalize it, and then you practice it. And based on the practice, you have experience of whatever you expected versus the actual experience. There could be a gap, or there could be a fulfillment of what you expected, and you form conclusions based on your experience. Yeah, this is something that I want to do, I must do, I understand is very important. Or you can say, oh, this is all humbug and bogus. What is this? You drop water and your pitrus will get it. Where is the proof of all this? So you start from beginning of the avyakta down to the immovable, manifested and unmanifested in their nature, productive of each other like the seed and its sprout, agitated by 1,000 troubles. And it could be fragile like a worm of a plantain, similar in kind to an illusion, or the waters of the mirage, the shape of cities formed by the clouds in the sky, dreams, water bubbles, and foam, and destroyed every moment, and discarding all this as being produced by good and bad deeds. So the commentary is describing uh, in a more layman's language of what the earlier sentence of karma and creation and experience is being alluded to. The word Brahmana here is used because the Brahmin is specially competent to acquire the knowledge of Brahman through wholesale renunciation, which I have already explained in the previous mantras. Right? You learn the Vedas, you master it, and then you have the other tantras, etc., that you can acquire it, slowly understand and discover your inner self, move up the ladder of the energy system, and that will open up your eyes into saying, okay, what you see in front of you is all Maya, and nothing is really existing. And that is when that realization happens, because you're so happy, proud today. Oh, I created the iPhone, I created that rocket, I created this thing, I launched that rocket to the moon. I can create something and send it to the moon, and decide to hit the north pole of the moon or south pole of the moon or Mars. We derive satisfaction from all these things, as if we are in control, we are in charge and power. But when the true realization happens, for which you need to acquire the knowledge and go down the path of renunciation, where you have to say, I start getting detached from each and every desire that I have. So, what that person should do after the renunciation, after examining these words, is explained with the word nirvedam. The root with the prefix nir is used in the sense of freedom from desires. So, nirvedam in the mantra refers to the freedom from desires. And the hidden meaning there is that the Brahmin will get disgusted. The mode of disgust is thus shown where in samsara there is nothing which is not made, for all worlds produced by karma are transitory. Again, taking the example of iPhone, you get the happiness that you invented something, you have advanced your life, you're modernizing your life, making comforts coming to your life. All of a sudden, when that thing starts depreciating, it stops working, you have to trade it off or throw it in a disposable can. That is when you desire, oh, phew, I thought I created everything. I finally, it comes to an end. And then you start all over again in pursuit of something new. So these are transitory things. Transitory means passing. So all that is produced by this karma of ours is one of four kinds. What are the four kinds? That which is produced, that which is reached, that which is refined, and that which is modified. So key four things you remember. That which is produced. I mean, I'm just using iPhone as a simple example to continuously deliver the message. Could be anything that you can associate it with. That which is produced, that which is reached or attained, that which is refined, and that which is modified. Beyond this, nothing can be done by karma. So it might be difficult for you to relate when I say this, but take these four words and start applying it to everything that you experience in your day-to-day life, and what you see, what you do. It'll slowly start dawning upon you what the message is. But when I'm a seeker of that eternal truth, of the immortal, fearless, changeless, immovable, and constant, then of what use is that karma, which is full of trouble, which leads to this misery? That is the question being asked. Right? So it's if you remember in the beginning, I said when you don't have knowledge, also you're happy because you're living in la la land. Oh, I'm enjoying the best luxury of life. But you suddenly get some knowledge. Somebody like me starts every day morning or every Wednesday morning, getting up in the morning at 6 a.m. and starts teaching something that you probably didn't know before. That knowledge, if not received or processed properly, can also lead to dissatisfaction, because it can lead to say a process like, oh, I thought I was enjoying my life, having fun, and what this guy is saying every day, every Wednesday, is that it's all Maya, it's all humbug, it's all bogus. everything is transitory, the words will be slightly depressing if you don't really get the true meaning of it. So you start feeling that sense of disgusting feeling, saying, then why am I doing all this? What is the objective? What is the purpose of my life? Because you run after money, you get money, you think you've got happiness, then suddenly all the associated trouble starts. How can I hide the money? How can I avoid paying tax? Oh, now I have avoided paying tax. How can I keep out of sight of the income tax people? And you don't learn these things until you reach that step. So that process is very attractive until you reach that step. But once you reach that step, now you can't reverse. You're already in the ocean of trouble and misery. Then you start saying, why did I do all these things? What for and for whom? Right? So the Brahmin should, for knowing that the abode which is fearless, full of bliss, not made and eternal, approach a preceptor or a person who is well versed in Veda, possessing attributes such as control of mind, control of the external senses, and mercy, etc., and a person who is well versed in Shastras. So again, if you remember the reference made is to submit the fuel in hand. The Brahmin should approach Brahmin should approach a person who is an expert in Vedas, person who is leading a path of austere life, because that person is in that elevated state, can then better explain to you, come down this path, these are the things that you need to do to reach where I am. So the person should be well versed in Vedas, Shastras, and also guide you down the path of that renunciation. So if I tell you today in this 1 hour lecture, drop all your desires, forget, don't have coffee, don't have iPhone, don't have iPad, etc., etc. It's not something that you're able to say, okay, as soon as the call is over or the video or class is over, I'm able to do it. So the key there is the ability for the mind and the body to connect. And it requires lots and lots of tuning, it requires lots and lot of oiling, practice to stay down the same path. Otherwise, you can do it just like going to a gym, saying that from tomorrow onwards, I'm on a diet. I'm going to be very fit. You start doing everything. You subscribe. You to a gym. You pay the fees, etc. You start with a lot of excitement. After a week, suddenly the excitement goes down and you're back to normal. Right. So, to be able to sustain down this path, it requires perseverance. It requires knowledge, and you process the experience that you get without fear, saying, oh, if I just drop all these desires, am I losing the greatest opportunity of enjoying my human life in this birth? Only a person who has gone through those steps and achieved those goals can clearly explain to you and guide you through the path with confidence, which is constantly required for you to get that assurance to be able to persevere down that path. So Strotriyam means well versed in the recital of Vedas. That is if you see the mantra, I'll go back to the mantra. The last two words, Strotriyam Brahmanishtam. So in that, Strotriyam means the reference is to a person who is well versed in the recital of the Vedas and the knowledge of its import, what the Vedas are trying to communicate. Brahmanishtam is very similar to Japanishtha and Taponishtha. The literal meaning is one who is centered in the Brahman, devoid of attributes, and without a second after renouncing all karma is called Brahmanishtam. So, having duly approached the Guru, the Brahmin let the Brahmin propitiate him and question him about the true and immortal Purusha. So when I said that you need the guidance of the well-versed scholar or the Brahmin who has traversed down that path, it cannot be a monologue where it just the person who is in pursuit of knowledge attends lectures after lectures or upanyasams after upanyasams and say, okay, you keep saying what you have to say and I will understand. It doesn't work like that. The reason why an interactive session is important is with every knowledge, piece of knowledge that you acquire, your mind becomes smarter and wiser, and it'll ask, come back with 10 more questions. Why this? Why that? You said this on that day. Now you are contradicting yourself. And I say this in simple language. Um, Everything that you talk about nature, everything that you talk about Srishti, etc., is never a unidimensional or two dimensional explanation. These are multidimensional. Uh, I don't know whether I have said this in this class. Uh, there's a whole world of Bhumandalam, description of Bhumandalam in our scriptures. So, much more than us who were so proud of we are Hindus and we have got this, we have got that, that's all we can take. The Westerners have taken each and every book, they have analyzed it to bits and pieces, to the last letter. They have tried to do that in their own way. Like in one of the mantras, I said how Max Muller interpreted it, right? Moment he heard Gotra, he talked of caste and race. That's all he could do. So similarly, the interpretation of Bhumandala was interpreted as it's a book where the author is very confused, don't know what it's talking about, because now they've got all the knowledge of NASA, ESA, European Space Agency, and everybody, right? And they've got that ISS space station up there, thinking that we know everything. We are watching the world through the Hubble telescope. You are living in that realm. So now you're judging those scriptures and saying whether it makes sense or not. So the commentary was given by a mortal human being like me, who thought of the knowledge the person had as extraordinary and said this Bhumandala is a confused book. And very detailed analysis. Chapter 1 is contradicting chapter 7, and again chapter 7 is contradicting chapter 9. Until another smart guy came, used the tools of three-dimensional modeling, and said, in fact, Bhumandala, the book itself is far more advanced to say Earth is a sphere. Earth is only one planet in the solar system, and there are so many solar systems, so many universes, so many galaxies. It's infinite. We don't even have a clue. And the second person had to do animated modeling, three-dimensional modeling. And in short, what they were trying to do is, if you have watched any space launch, etc., the huge screen that you see in movies or NASA screens or ISRO screens, you will see a curve like this, like a sinusoidal curve, right? And you will start wondering, what is the sinusoidal curve? I mean, I thought the objects in the space are in orbits, right? Am I making sense? If you see the screens of NASA or ISRO, they will be tracking the satellite position, and it will be like this, going up and down, like a sinusoidal curve. Have you ever wondered why? So these are all the things that is of interest. Just trigger your mind and say, rather, any idea from your side? Okay. So if you are living in the earth as a sphere, correct? And there is an object that is going like this, orbit, correct? If the earth were absolutely rotating around a vertical axis, then a person on the equator may be close to the same level of the orbit. If assuming the orbit is in the same level, will see an object going like this suddenly, straight line. Somebody who is on the northern hemisphere will see that there is an object going down. Somebody who is in the southern hemisphere will see there is an object going up. Correct? Very simple. Yes? So when you open the sphere into a 2D model, flatten it out, it becomes a rectangle. In that rectangle, you will see that as a straight line. But now the Earth is not rotating on an axis that is straight, it is tilted. Correct? And when this is tilted and the satellite is on a particular elliptical orbit, sometimes it will be in line with the person in the northern hemisphere, and sometimes when it goes to the other side, this guy is up, it will be in line with the southern hemisphere. Are you getting what I'm saying? This fellow is going straight, but sometimes it is in line with the northern, sometimes it's in line with the. So if I start plotting each of the points, it will follow that curve from northern hemisphere to southern hemisphere, and again up and down. That is what it is. So if I don't have knowledge of a sphere, if I don't have knowledge of three-dimensional viewing or appreciation, and if you don't have somebody like me who can explain what is written there, and you start becoming a judge saying that this person is confused, whoever has written the book. First of all, none of these are written by any author. They've already said it is Apaurusheya, right? So instead of trying to understand what you don't know, learn and understand. If you start becoming a judge of something that you don't know and you didn't create it, then you can't be farther off from the truth. So you need a guru, you need somebody who can sit and explain like the way I did just now. It could be simple aspects. Only then you'll be able to appreciate the reality and you'll be treading on the right path. Otherwise, it's very easy to get astray from any of these things. Make sense? So although that slow mantra is a very small mantra, it is delivering a very powerful message. And as you can see, they could have just written everything in 5 lines and delivered the message in one mantra, right? They're taking time to slowly expand on the topic the way the sage is explaining to Shaunaka, is systematically preparing the person of what the reality is. So far, so good, or is it difficult? You want me to repeat any of the thing that I said? And do not worry. At the end of Mundaka Upanishad, you will have a sort of a dossier or a book where I will summarize a lot of what I said and I'll share it with you. Right? It will take time, but I will have that PDF document shared with each one of you who have attended the class. So that way you can have a book that you can go back to and refer. So let's take a little bit of time and yeah, go ahead.
Sometimes people who are very active and do a lot of karma, they tend to look down on people who sit at home and do prayers for those same people. So here in this verse, it's saying that karma is not the ultimate aim. It's actually gyan, or the knowledge. But in the world, you're judged, or what is defined is how much you do for others, or how much you're seen to be doing action, not reciting prayers or chanting for people's well-being, but actually physically doing the things for them. So then, if you're in company with people such who take pride in being very active and doing things, and your path, say, is on learning to chant and so on, then it gets a bit confusing, because then you start wondering, or you start feeling a bit belittled that maybe you're wrong. Does that make sense?
Excellent question. A very favorite topic for me. And I'm glad you asked, because then at least I can address that question straight away. And I will answer that in a very simplistic way again. It's very easy to understand. Because the moment I start saying, oh, no, that person is wrong, you're right, don't worry, it sounds very philosophical. I like to ground things in reality. And I'd like to take you to giving an analogy that you can understand and relate to. See how the leaves are moving. Obviously, if I tell you, you can see it and you'll agree with me. You can't say, no, no, the leaves are not moving. Show me where is the proof that there is wind. No, you can't see the wind or vayu, but you can see that when the leaves are moving, obviously something is moving it. That is how you interpret it, right? So there's no clinical evidence for everything. So back to the question. Your core question is, there are people who do lots of pujas and lots of activities, which is called good karma, because that's what this scriptures say. Do a lot of good karma. Yeah, do good karma in terms of chanting, do good karma in terms of puja, havan. The bigger the havans and the number of people, your measure is all by the number of people attended, number of liters of ghee you poured in the havan. That is a measure. How much money you spend, what was your budget. So this is precisely what this mantra, what you learned today, is explaining to you. These are those misplaced people that are roaming around in that realm and they can never get out of that realm because they have never bothered to go to the next higher level class or say what is beyond all this. And the gap there is a very common thing. It may be a harsh word, but that is realistic. That hypocrisy of people who don't want to accept the truth. If, for example, you touted your iPhone 14 Pro saying that, you guys don't have it, I have it, and I've worked hard and I've earned that much money and I'm richer and smarter than you, and happiness lies as long as that person holds that iPhone, working iPhone in hand. If that person cannot think, if this is perishable, it's going to stop working one day and I will not have it, what am I going to tell the same Sonalji whom I'm going to meet the next day? Sonalji never aspired for iPhone. Sonalji never wasted time in that acquisition of iPhone or bragging or looking down upon somebody. So who is happier? The answer is without any doubt is you. Sonalji is happier because I went through the circus, unnecessary circus, which I could have used in discovering myself instead of judging other people. Correct? So the word judgment is the key troublemaker here, number one. And I'll give another analogy. Or if all of you are mothers, so you've given birth to children, when the child is born, absolutely the child cannot even see. First 2 months, it doesn't even have eyesight. It can only see black and white. Slowly, it starts developing vision to recognize colors, to recognize form, shape, right? Slowly, it starts fully getting developed. So the brain is still getting developed after the child has come to this world. So, would any of those people who look down upon other start looking down upon the child? I'm a multimillionaire. You can't even see. Why you don't do it? What is your natural tendency? You share love, affection with that newborn. Teach what you think you know, that you think that the newborn should know, and help the newborn grow, develop. This is good karma. So if I do this and I say, okay, now I have taught you, so I have earned the right to become your boss, and slap the child, you are a moron. You can't even crawl. You can't even walk. See, I am a marathon runner. I came back running a 10K. And you come back and slap that infant. How does your balance sheet look like? You can keep bragging and telling the world, I am so good, I am developing the child, I am always sacrificing my life and time for the child, infant, etc. But when nobody is around, you slap the child. The child is crying, and maybe when somebody comes around, you'll start pacifying the child. See, you see, even a crying child, I'm pacifying it. This doesn't work. And the sooner people realize that, the better it is. I can't give any simpler example than this. So, a smarter child will only empathize and sympathize with the ignorant. That is the mantra meaning here, which has been explained just about last half an hour. If you are going to be ignorant and you're spinning the same cycle in that cycle and not willing to come out of it, it's your loss. You'll probably go down the southern route to hell. The person that you judged, the person that is smarter and sticking to the right path, will ultimately succeed. And as in English, they say that person will have the last laugh. So let us say you trust in me, and when I'm saying this, Sonalji, don't get distracted, let the dogs bark, and you believe and follow and persevere your current good path, then there is nothing for you to bother, because you can't change the other person. The other person will judge you, will fall at your feet tomorrow, cry, apologize. That cycle can go on, the circus can go on. You need to be focused on your life, because every minute is ticking, like every breath is ticking. So within the available number of breaths in this birth, you need to be able to promote yourself. So even if you're not prepared, or you started very late in the spiritual journey, and you feel that the runway is short for you to get moksha, it all sounds good, but at this age, do you want me to just lie on the floor without clothes and without this air conditioning in the heat of 110 Fahrenheit? Kumar, what are you talking about? I don't mind taking birth one more time. So let me enjoy this birth and come back. I've heard people say that, but it is their call. There is no two-handed, two-leg God that is going to come down, pull your ear, and say, "Oh no, Sonalji, please do this. Otherwise, I will slap you." It is your choice. That is why it is called karma. You own what you say and what you do. So either you can spend your life in judging others and trying to comment about others, and if you start saying me that I'm a moron, right? You try it. It does not have any impact on me. I'm very well conditioned on that. If you're very close to me, I might tell you, Sonalji, why are you wasting your time? Why are you doing this? Once, twice, thrice, maximum. Afterward, I'm more concerned about the time that I have got. I cannot take cognizance of people who are clueless or ignorant. And that is where a guru is important. So there are times you will listen to me and you'll say, yeah, what you say makes sense. Your example is so simple and good. But I understand the real pressure outside when those powerful people don't let you attend a puja, don't let you enter a temple, and they discriminate, they make judgments. That is where the reality is important. Idol worship is a very relatively new concept. Idol worship is not our original source of worship. Okay? So, why sacrifice your life in saying, if I don't go to the temple and don't show with that best Kanjivaram sari, my spirituality is any less? I have come across in my life so many people who will look very simple, poor, very simply dressed, hardly a cotton piece of cloth. They don't have money, they don't have influence, they can't even give the 250 or 2,500 rupees for that fast track ticket in the temple. They are happy people, they worship at home. They do dhyanam, they control their negative energies, they don't waste their time in all futile talks, and they progress in life. And again, keep, I'm sure you're getting used to it if I repeat some things, because I can't remember where I said what and how much, how many times. This is a very common saying that is out there. Bill Gates, is the richest man in the world, right? For a long, long time. It may be not, it may be first or second now, but it's definitely up there. So he is now into all the charitable activity, correct? So he went to Latin America, and one of the countries he was going through the villages because he wants to study the rural village life and what can be done through technology to improve, blah blah blah. And every visit he saw that there was a man who was on a bullock cart, absolutely minimally clad, putting his legs crossed and gazing the sky. One day he couldn't control himself. He said, "Man, why are you wasting your life like this?" He said, "What makes you feel that I'm wasting? I'm enjoying, I'm happy." So he says, "How can you be saying that you're enjoying and you're happy? You don't do any work, you don't earn any money, blah, blah, blah." He says, "Keep going on, go on." So Bill Gates lectures him about how to work hard, how to make more money, and says, "What makes you say all these things? What authorizes you to say all these things?" And he says, "Look at me. I'm the richest man in the world. I've spent my entire life creating Windows, Microsoft, blah, blah, blah." It goes on and on and on and on. This is okay, great. Congratulations. Why are you here? I see you coming every frequently here. Why are you here? He says, after doing all the hard work and earning all that money, I get tired and stressed. So I come here to de-stress. And then that farmer asks, what do you think I'm doing? It's so powerful. But you need guts, you need the ability and clarity to be able to make those kind of decisions. And some people say, how do you do it? I mean, what if I worked hard to make so much money and then suddenly I don't do any of those things and I renounce everything? And am I doing injustice to myself or my family, etc.? Again, knowledge is important. The various stages of our life is clearly defined in our scriptures. Balavastha, Grahasthashram, right? Vruddhashram, Vanaprastham, Sannyasashram. Very clearly defined. Nowhere it says you just drop the ball and run just because some joker called Kumar started preaching it early in the morning. Knowledge you acquire, process it, customize it to your needs. So, long story short, you need to condition with knowledge whether the person who is judging you or lecturing you is an ignorant person or a knowledgeable person. Correct? And I can give you on and on and on examples. If somebody says, Sonalji, you're so crazy, pagal hai aap. It has happened with me when I was growing up in India. I was a pet child for my mother and father, always protected. But when I got my admission in engineering college, I had to go to a dorm 400 kilometers away. People were getting frustrated that I don't smoke, I don't drink. What nonsense is this? What are you afraid of? Now you don't have to be afraid of your parents. You're free, you're independent. That's a lecture, that's a sermon that you get there. I said, no, I'm not afraid of anybody. I can go and tell my parents that I'm smoking. I'm not afraid of them, but I don't want to do it. There are people who have gone crazy to take me and put me on the cot and hold my hands, legs, etc., to ensure that I do. Because for them, it is like, how can you be like this? And I was saying only one thing. I said, you make me do once, you will regret it. Because afterwards, you will become such an addict, you will regret wasting your life. Because I am not interfering in your life. I have a choice to live the way I want it. I am not taunting you. Listen, you're a spoiled guy and I'm a clean guy. I'm minding my own business. What's your problem in life? But it is so powerful. The irony of that is when we finished our last semester and I was sitting in the cafeteria early morning, and so there's a lot of greenery in the place where I study. It's southern Maharashtra. You'll see a breath of fresh air as soon as you get up in the morning, the typical village environment. 3, 4 people came and sat in front of me. And I said, what happened now? And they said, don't talk. 1.5 hours, they just cried. These are those pailwans who wanted to teach me a lesson and make me an addict. And one of that person is the cafeteria owner. So the cafeteria owner doesn't go anywhere, right? The batches of students come and go, come and go. He's still there. He says, I'm in this place running this cafeteria for the last 30 years. You're very young compared to me. You're a young boy of 21 years of age. I'm yet to see a person with such clarity. You have taught me a lesson, and the gift that I want to do, like, Arpan Karna, is I have stopped smoking. I always knew it is bad for my health. But that social pressure of being like standing there and puffing my way off, I thought that is pride, that is strength, that is power. You taught me that lesson that it doesn't have to be. Today, you stand tall with your clarity and conviction. And I made a decision at least to take advantage of that now. So, point is, don't feel let down or trivialized by people who make comments, because they're all mortal beings. If they speak that, it doesn't mean that is the truth, right? That is what you're learning in Mundaka Upanishat. The real truth is something else. So these are all transitory. Those comments will be transitory. See, if you respond to them and make them feel happy by saying, "Oh, I'm depressed because of your comment," they get further motivated. You start ignoring them. After a point, they'll say, "अरे यार ये सोनल जी तो पागल है, उसको बोल के फायदा नहीं है." They'll leave you alone. It is a fact. And you wait at that point until they do a full circle and come back to you. Because when they come back after realization, right, their eyes will be down, full of shame. That why did I hurt such a good individual? So that is where the Guru Parampara is important, where you believe in the Guru, learn in what, understand what you're learning, practice what you're learning, have that faith and perseverance, and literally implement some of the things that you're learning. It's no good if you just listen to the lectures for every 1 hour every week and then say, okay, I forgot about it and I'm back to my business. I'm back into that same circus that goes on and on. So, and when I'm saying this, I'm not a sage. I'm not a sannyasi or anybody. I understand the limitations and the challenges, but you need to have the clarity, right? Because when the opportunity knocks on your door, you're well informed and educated to take that step required. So, hope I've answered your question. It may not be in the fullest.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So, never get demotivated. Never feel low or depressed or. Honestly, बोलता हूँ सोनल जी in simple Hindi. आप तो देखा होगा. I mean, you would have seen when people pass what happens, right? I'm exposed to that process from age of 6. You lie on the floor. Hardly in our system you have any bare minimal cloth, right? You can't even get up and walk. Whether you have 100 cars, 10 private jets, it does not matter. The ultimate position for everybody is this: you will need 4 people to make that final trip. If you have lived a life which doesn't earn that 4 people's respect, it doesn't matter whether you're Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos or anybody else or Rahul Gandhi, correct? And when you go that path, what karma you have done in the life that God has gifted you is what is going to determine your further journey. Your soul moves, and all everybody is saying is just believe in this process. Obviously, I don't believe that in Treta Yuga or Satya Yuga somebody would have had all the time in the world to write all these books and say, okay, abhi se after 572,000 years, a joker like Kumar or somebody will be reading it, so let me write all these things. ऐसा कोई लिखा नहीं. You can see clinical evidence in bits and pieces, and you'll have to believe, saying that if I can see the evidence of this in that small piece, then the whole will be the truth, and everything is for your good. There is nothing that you're going to lose from here. So if the tactical concern is I made $5 million in the bank, what do I do with that? Is, keep it. You don't have to just destroy it. Give it over to somebody in your family who is more running after the money, who is in the initial phase of grahasthashram, right? You can write a contract saying that, listen, I just need food, clothing, and shelter for the rest of 20 years of my life. Don't bother me. I don't need IPL. I don't need iPhone. I don't need iMac. Nothing. Just let me live in peace and use all the time available for nice meditation and discovering oneself. So God is within us. So you don't even have to cry. You don't even have to be worried. See, I'm so old. I'm dependent on somebody for them to drive me up somewhere. I can't even go to the temple. So going to the temple need not be the ultimate goal of your life. It may sound very contradictory if somebody hears me out on YouTube. That's a reality. You can worship sitting in the comforts of your home and still discover God. It is the path, the knowledge, and the perseverance that makes the difference. Make sense? And don't hesitate to come back and say, listen, you told me that day, but I still get distracted. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to be feeling bad about it. It is human. We all do. And after we get out of this class, we're still going to be living in that real world here, right? But even if it makes a little bit of impact, see how it shapes your life. Okay. So I think Radhaji is busy or multitasking. So, Padmaja, you're wanting to say something?
No, I just wanted to ask, have you read the Bhavishya Puran?
I actually, you may be surprised. All my family members have seen my horoscope except me.
Okay, no, Bhavishya Puran is a
Go ahead, share.
Puran only, are they?
Huh?
No, because 2 days before I saw an anti-Shankaramudam person speaking, literally under the title, and they told the Bhavishya Puran is written, it's so true, it must be written in 1920s or 30s.
Yeah, Puranas are not never the original scriptures, right?
No, but then it cannot be so early also, no? 19th, because Irudasham, they cannot have written 50 years ago, no?
Why not? Why not?
Bhavishya Puran?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I thought they are all ancient Purans, like Garuda Puran, Bhavishya Puran is also an ancient Puran.
No, just because it is called Puran, you don't have to think that it is centuries old.
Okay.
Yeah, if Adi Shankarana and 600 version, then 600. You can't even imagine such a god was walking through this planet Earth, right? Until you visit Kaladi. If you go to Kochi, you can visit Kaladi. It will transport you to a different plane. All right, so we'll stop here, and if there are any questions, we'll continue. Was this useful? Good. I was planning to finish off the remaining part of the sound, but we can do that next time. Because this kind of an interactive discussion is more important than just me constantly sharing information. All right. Take care. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Carry on.